My name is Sim Evan-Jones, and I'm a supervising editor.
Greetings, friends, and welcome to my ship. I'm Captain New Eyes.
We're primarily involved in building the story reels. Every week we produce 10 minutes, 5 minutes worth of storyboards, which are sent over to America and approved either by Spielberg or by his creative team. The primary thing we do is we cut together the final dialogue and assemble a track of temporary sound effects and temporary music. We take music from other films and record our own sound effects, use CD sound effects, and build a reel it's what in advertising is called an animatic. It's a rough idea, but at the same time it actually has to be quite precise, because when something is moved into production, then that forms like a map for the animators to work to.
Mark Williams from Abergele in North Wales, and my job here is a character lead.
Golly, this is great!
Along with this supervising animator, I'm kind of in control of the design of the character. And if any animator, besides Steve and Nicola himself, do animate a scene and it's not quite on model, then I go through the scene beforehand and do all the necessary changes to make the character look like it should.
Well, my name's Andy Griffiths. I'm from Barry in South Wales, and I'm working as a key assistant here.
This guy's nuts.
Basically, I'll get the animators' rough drawings, and I'll have to turn them into finished pieces of work to be filmed. Well, the animator's just concerned with the movement, and his drawings will be quite rough, you see, so I'll have to make them as finished and as polished as I can to make them look exactly like the character should.
My name's Kieran Evans, and I'm an assistant editor.
So what exactly are you doing here at the moment? Are you working on the new film?
Well, yeah, working on the film about Balto, about the great sled race that occurred in the 1920s. Well, originally I went to art college in Carmarthen, and then I moved on to Newport, which had quite a tradition about animation teaching there, but I was doing fine art. And the tutor advised me to go to London and become a runner and try and work in that area. So came to London and became a runner for this company. I've just worked my way up, really.
My name's Tim Davis, and I'm basically running the video line test department, where we shoot. All the animators bring over their animation to us to shoot onto videotape before it goes down to camera, because it's obviously cheaper to shoot it onto tape rather than film. And the director then approves the scenes in sections, and then when they get approved, then they go off to 35mm to get cut into the film. Well, I had a lot of interest in video equipment, and I tried for a job at the BBC in Cardiff, but they told me that I didn't have enough experience, so I sort of thought I'd come up to London to see what was happening. And Nick Fletcher, the editor, he sort of told me this job was going, so I applied for it, and I've been here 3.5 years.
Transfer.
Yeah.
Well, my name's Nick Fletcher, and I come from Abergavenny in Wales, and I always had a keen interest in film as a young lad, and I knew that really to get started, at least in the business, I'd have to come up to London. So I came up to London when I was about 17. We start the ball rolling, really. We start off with storyboard pictures, which we shoot onto film or video, or in our case, these Avid computers, and we build the reel from that. So we can keep rebuilding it then, changing this, changing that, until, as we do in our case, we put the whole film together as a storyboard, and then when everybody's happy with it and it's working well, then it goes into production.
I am not a bat. I am a pterodactyl.
Can you fly?
Would you get me off of this thing? Watch out for the skyscraper! You're gonna get us killed! I'm gonna slip off! Pull up! You're going too fast! Slow down already! Slow down! Where exactly would you like to go?
At this time, animation seems to be going through a very interesting period of changing and development, and there are many interesting things that are coming up and working well and being successful, and not just highly technical or, you know, there's some very simple ideas that are coming to the forefront, and it is a very exciting time.
Animation, the way we animate things, done.
He's got a view of all these screens so he can continuously look up and just see little bits and pieces what's happening, kind of thing. But the animators usually get him over to, you know, over here to check out their scenes for approval. And like they might come over 5 or 6 times in a period of 3 or 4 weeks before they get final approval.
There's always been computers animation, but they're now really starting to find their way into just about every corner. In editing, they've completely revolutionised what we do. Previously, we used to cut our rough story reels together using pure film technology that basically hadn't changed for 40 years. We're now able to work much quicker, digitising everything onto a computer and using the speed of hard disks to move whole chunks of picture and sound around, a bit like word processing.
We're filming out things that are coming up at the moment. They just seem to be useful tools to enable you to take your own creativity or whatever, I'm speaking mainly from an animation point of view now, or graphics at least, to a new level. And that's working out really well. That's a really exciting time as well. Yeah, it's great.
Then they'll animate all the special effects that go into the scene, such as like smoke and dust. And they, on the computer systems and effects, they animate the inanimate objects, such as the aeroplanes and sleds, things like that. So they need the character animation to provide reference to the scene. Then it goes through the same process again, a line test and approval. Then the finished scene then will go to down to 35mm to be shot onto film. And obviously then things can still be changed at that stage.
At every stage, the animation is tested, and it always comes back to us for being to be compiled. So we never get far away from the process. Also, the way this particular studio is organised, we're all very close to the animators, and we all keep an eye on each other. They see new things coming off our machines and comment to us on our work, and we're able to keep an eye on them and see how their character is developing. You know, they each take a character, and we can see those characters develop, which helps us as we make additional edits to the reel.
Captain New Eyes, sir, we've arrived.
Thank you, Forbes. You may open the pod bay doors.
It's a world covered with jewels.
Vista. Look at all those lights.
Well, we edit storyboard for around a year. Principal animation takes around a year, and then it can take 8 months to 9 months after that for all the departments to finish up.
So it's a 3-year project?
Basically, yeah.
On a good day, we get about 7 seconds done, but sometimes it's taking us about a week to do.
I think it's about 200, but the numbers go up and down as departments start, and then departments tail off as their area is finishing, as another department is building up to go into high gear for their end of it, you know, throughout the process of animation. It's a sort of roller coaster. We in editing seem to be the only department that's really on from the very beginning, from the development storyboarding idea right through to the very end, where we have to organise cutting the negative and making the prints. So we're constant throughout, you know, and we see faces come and go, and sometimes they're there at the beginning of a project and they go away for 6 months and then they come back at the end. So we're constantly seeing faces that have, you know, you think have gone and then suddenly are back again, you know.
You know, for a while, there was a period in the 80s when they were, like, SLC encouraged a lot of funding and brought in a lot of animation companies. But whether that's continued, I don't know, because I haven't actually been there in a long time.
I wish there was more opportunities down in Wales to do this kind of thing, but obviously there's not.
But to us, it still seems like, you know, quite quick or whatever. We're constantly developing. Maybe it's like building a ship or something. There are always different challenges that come up, different things that don't seem to work right. So you redevelop, you change this and you change that. So we're constantly tinkering. I mean, it does seem like a long time, and I suppose it is a long time. But that's fine by us.
Who've grown up with Segas and Nintendos and like Amigas, all now practicing on their computers at home, and and the computer companies are looking for these children. I mean, like for one example, the video games people now are hiring a hell of a lot of animators because the kids out there are demanding that practically real life movement on their games, and so that's encouraging a lot of people to actually look at other forms of animation.
Didn't move, and when you see something move and it's got its own personality and emotion, it's just completely different. You want to try and put as much in.
Spectacular frozen wastes of Alaska to meet a dog team led by